Okay, see and wait to see if anybody comes on in the next couple of minutes. Okay, looks like we've got a couple of people on here. Hi, how are you? Now, I haven't done a live stream for a little while, so trying to work out how to actually log in here and get started this morning was a little bit stressful. And it was funny, I was watching Courtney Luna the other day, and she says she gets quite panicky when she does a live. So I thought, oh, it's not just me then. Obviously, other people get a bit panicky as well. Now, I think I've got my correct comments thing up. Last time I did a live, oh, hi, Judith. Last time I did a live, I couldn't see the comments, and it was because there's a private chat thing, and I had that up instead, and I didn't realize until after I'd done the live stream. So today I thought I'd jump on for a couple of reasons. I haven't been putting up a lot of videos lately because just a lack of time, and I've been trying to make time to do other things. So in particular, making jewelry, because I love making jewelry, and I hadn't been making time for that, and I decided that I needed to for my own just pleasure in that. I sell it on Etsy. My website, if you ever want to have a look, is silverbysue.com. That will take you to my Etsy store where I have my jewelry. So I've been learning to make jewelry for the last, 5 years or so, and I'm getting a little bit better at it. And so yeah, that's what I do. But today I thought I'd do an update on what's actually happening with me. I had some blood tests done last week, and I made a video the other day talking about my ferritin levels, which I was extremely happy about. But then I got my insulin results yesterday, and they weren't so great. So of late, I have been feeling amazing. Hi, there's some more people on here by the looks of things. If you've got any comments or questions, pop those in the chat, because I can see the chat today, and I will answer them hopefully as we go along or towards the end of the video. What was I saying? Lately, I've been feeling really, really good, like really amazing. Probably the best that I've felt. My bowel has really settled down a lot. My digestive system has just, it's at a place that it probably hasn't been for a very long time, if ever. And so I've been really loath to change anything because I'm always scared that it's going to go backwards. But so I've been eating a carnivore diet, or mostly carnivore diet, for just over 3 years now. And if you've followed my journey, if there's anyone on here who has, my bowel has been a really huge issue for the whole time, and even prior to carnivore. But yeah, it's just so much better now. My diet of late hasn't been strict carnivore, and as I said, because everything's been so good, I've been a little bit loath to actually change anything, but I'm going to, because of my insulin blood test result, which is what I'm going to talk about in a little bit. My energy, my mood, I'm back feeling like exercising, which is fantastic, because I haven't felt like that. I haven't had the energy to exercise for a very long time. So when I came into carnivore, I was suffering from mold illness, and so that's been a big part of my journey, is kind of undoing that. And I feel like I'm on top of that now, finally. And yeah, I've been in this amazing headspace, feeling really, really good most of the time. So I went and had the blood test done last week. Now, what I had done was a lipid panel, a ferritin test, and insulin and glucose tests. Now, the reason for having the ferritin test done, if you've not seen any of my videos, is that I'd noticed over probably the last 12 months or so, I had a lot of inflammation in my body, a lot of pain, and it just seemed to be getting worse. I just wasn't feeling great. When I went on to carnivore, I felt really good compared to where I'd been anyway, and that was improving. And then it started to seem like it was going backwards, and I just had this niggling thing going on that I needed to get a ferritin test done. So I had a ferritin test done in April of this year, and it came back at 510. And then I had another ferritin test done in May, and it came back at 540. And so then I went looking for information on how to lower my ferritin, and I had booked to do my first blood donation in May, so I did that. The blood donations apparently only drop your ferritin usually by about 30 to 50 points with each donation. And so because ideal ferritin levels are under 100, preferably under 80. And so I read a book by a gentleman named P.D. Mangan, and I'll pop a link to his book below the video. That was very interesting. I've been watching some of his videos and interviews just lately and sort of gleaning some more information about all of it. Because ferritin and iron, so ferritin is a measure of the amount of iron that's in your body, basically. And iron causes problems. So when you have too much iron in your body, it's associated with all sorts of diseases, including diabetes and cancer and heart disease. And so ferritin is the protein that your body uses to bind up the iron and hopefully keep it under control. So if your ferritin's high, your iron's high. And so that's why I'm trying to lower it. And so I did the blood donation. I've been taking resveratrol. So resveratrol helps to inhibit iron absorption in your body, and I've explained all of this in my last video. So there's a video that I did, as I said, a couple of days ago, where I'm talking about all of this. So if you want to go back and watch that, I've explained more in there. And I've also been eating a lot of dairy because calcium helps to bind heme iron as well. It's the only food thing that does. And so, but it does it in a different way to the resveratrol. And so I've been using both the dairy and the resveratrol. Now, when I went and had my test done last week, it came back at 300. So it had dropped by 240 points, which was pretty amazing. And I was really happy with that. So that was a really good result. And it was better than I kind of thought it was going to be. So that was a good blood test result. The next one wasn't so good. Although I'll talk about the lipids. So I had the lipid test done. My LDL was pretty much the same as it was 2 years ago. It's sitting at 5.1. It was 5.0 2 years ago. My HDL to triglyceride ratio is really good. And so it was 0.35. 2 years ago, it was 0.44. So that's perfect. I'm happy with that. I didn't really think it would have changed much, but I thought I'll test it just in case. Now, the insulin test, I thought that it would have improved because I've been feeling so good. And I feel like I've dropped some weight. So my scales actually died probably close to 6 months ago now. So I haven't weighed myself. And I can feel that there's a little bit of change in my body and my clothes. I measure myself using an app called Me360. I do that once a month, and that takes all your measurements, like it scans your body, takes all your measurements and gives you a result. Seems to work quite well. It's quite accurate from what I can gather, like taking my measurements physically and then using the app seems to be pretty accurate. Now, last month was the first month that my measurements actually went up a bit. And I was like, that's interesting. Wonder why that's happened, but that's okay. And so, but I still thought things, because everything else is moving in the right direction, I thought that the insulin would be as well. Now, I've got some photos here that I've just put together just so you can see what's changing in my body. So I've got to see, hang on, I can get these up. Okay, so you can see here, 2019, that was pre-carnivore. Then 2023, that was a year into carnivore, because I started in May of 2022. So it was about a year and a bit, nearly a year and a half. And then this is me now, so 2025. So you can see that there's definite difference in my body. There's not a lot of difference in the weight on the scales, especially from, the 2023 mark. I don't even know whether there's really any difference. I jumped on mum's scales on Sunday and was quite disheartened to see that my weight was basically the same. And so, that was on Saturday, and I was quite disheartened to see that my weight was the same. But there's definite changes. Now, I have lipedema, so that doesn't help, but I'm determined to keep going and get a better result. Now, this, you can see as well, hang on, not sure if I can get this. How do I get this image up here? Add to stage. So you can see in my face, you can see the changes in my face, definitely. So these ones over on the left-hand side were before Carnivore, and then just into Carnivore underneath the left-hand one. And then these ones over on the right-hand side are me now, and so you can see the differences in the inflammation, my eyes and everything after being on Carnivore for 3 years. So, there's definite improvement, definite changes, but the whole insulin and blood glucose thing just keeps tripping me up, and I'm not sure quite how to do it, how to manage it. So my insulin test results, I've got them here written down. My insulin test results. So I've had my insulin tested 4 times since 2024. So November 2024, it was 101 picomoles per litre, which is 16 IU. So way too high. So your insulin should be, according to Dr. Berry's Common Sense Labs book, which I highly recommend if you want to kind of take control of your health yourself. I'll pop a link to that below the video as well if you want to go find it. It's the ideal should be under 8 to be in the good range, and it should be under 5 to be very good. Okay, so mine came in at 16 IU in November 24, and then April 24, it was 17.5. So it was 17.5, then it went down to 16. Then April 2025, it was down to 10. And there was actually another test in there somewhere, because I know in April 2024, there was, I did 2 insulin tests a month apart. I haven't got them on here. And my insulin had been down a little bit. And then I'd done that high-fat carnivore diet. So I was doing 80-20 for a month. And then I went and had my insulin tested again, and it had actually gone up. And that really confused me. And so I stopped doing the high-fat carnivore diet. I've since learned that I have a genetic variation that can affect, cause my body to react to have higher glucose with high fat. I think I need to dig back into that and find out what it actually was. I stumbled across it when I was looking at my genetic information. So April this year, my insulin was down to 10, and I was like, yay. I actually, when I did the video about it, I had miscalculated. I thought it was 8.9, but when I did it again yesterday, I realized that I had stuffed that up, and it was actually 10, but still it had come down by quite a lot from the last one. And and then when I got my results yesterday, I'm back up at 14. So I've gone from 10 in April back up to 14. So I had a look back, because I was tracking everything back then, and I've got an Excel spreadsheet with all this information on it. And I looked back to see what I was doing in April. And what I was doing was I was eating before 2 p.m. So having 2 meals, breakfast and lunch, and then I would fast through. And I know that I was taking berberine as well. And I decided I wasn't ever going to take berberine again, because it upsets my bowel so much, but I may end up buying some more and seeing if I can take it now, even if I start on a really small dose and build it up. I have suspect that the berberine was helping. And I was also like doing the blue blockers every night, going out in the morning and looking at the sunrise, going out in the evening and looking at the sunset, and really focusing on that whole leptin side of things. And so that might have been making quite a big difference as well, I suspect. And I have dropped off the wagon with that, because being winter, I mean, quite often when I'm working, I'm finishing with clients around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the sun's already down. And so I hadn't been doing that, like going out and watching the sun set, and then forgetting to put my blue blockers on and stuff, and sitting there looking at my phone, watching videos and things at night time. So I need to get back into that. Now, my blood glucose, so the other part of this was my blood glucose was, fasting glucose was 6.7. So that's 120, which is too high. And when I worked out my HOMA-IR, which I've never done before, HOMA-IR is an indication of how close you are to diabetes. My HOMA-IR is 4.16, which is really high. It's 2.9. Over 2.9 is a real strong indicator that you're heading towards diabetes. And so, you know, here I am 3 years on a carnivore or mostly carnivore diet, with amazing changes and feeling great. But apparently, according to these tests, I'm still heading towards diabetes, which really sucks. So that kind of, yesterday I was in a bit of a funk. I've been feeling so good for weeks. And then yesterday, after weighing myself on Saturday at Mum's, I was in a little bit of a, and then yesterday when the blood test results came through, that really kind of sent me into a bit of a funk. But I'm climbing out the other side of it now. So as I said, the difference in April, you know, eating early, I struggle with, like with work, but probably not so bad now because my bowel's not playing up, but it still plays up in my head. You know, it's after having bowel issues for so many years, so many decades, it becomes a real mind thing, and it's really hard to, I find really hard to move past that. Even though things have been good, there's still this fear in there all the time that it's going to play up. But I may go back to eating early again. I know, what's her name? Candy Frazier from Primal Bod. I watched some of her videos on Instagram and that, and I watched an interview. She did an interview with Dr. Kiltz, and he asked a couple of good questions, and so gleaned a little bit more information, because she doesn't let much out. She wants you to pay the thousands of dollars to do her course, which if I had the thousands of dollars, I would probably do her course and learn what she is teaching, because I think that what she's doing obviously works. But I kind of figure that I can probably work it out myself. I'm going to have to, because I don't have that option. So yeah, the eating early is part of it, and eating lower fat as well. I suspect with me, keeping my fat intake lower is really, really beneficial. It really helps for me. When I add too much fat, then I have noticed that my blood glucose and that tends to go up, because I was tracking everything. I was tracking ketones and glucose and everything back in April. Just the blinking ketone strips are so expensive. It makes it a little bit hard, but that's all good. But even if I track my glucose, then that'll help. And I may end up buying myself another set of scales and getting back to weighing, because at least then I know what's changing weight-wise. So I'm also planning on doing longer fasting, more fasting. I've actually gone back to sometimes doing OMAD just recently, because I had been for quite a long time. I was eating breakfast in the morning and then dinner at night. And so, but that means my fasting's only like 12 hours or so overnight, and then, you know, between breakfast and dinner. So more fasting, longer fasting. I'm thinking about doing a 36 or a 48-hour fast once a week, and see how that goes. I have done that before, struggled with it a little bit, but I think I tried to do 36 hours a week, and that was a little bit too much for me and made me a little bit food obsessed. And so, yeah, I will do that, and I'll be reporting more, doing some more videos. I'm considering doing a live once a week, just because it's easier, takes less time. I don't have to do all the editing and stuff. That just takes me forever to do the editing and the recording and everything. Whereas if I get on here on a live, I fumble away and say what I've got to say, and then it's on the YouTube channel and people can watch it or not. So the other thing is exercise, of course. So no dairy. Well, once I finish the milk that I have, because I've been having kefir every day. Once I finish that milk, I'm going to stop with the kefir and just do my vegetable ferments. And I've been making beet kvass, which is really good. So you just drink the stuff, you throw the beets out and drink the fermented kind of brine. It's really good. We have it quite often. We have it either on its own, or we have it with a bit of lemon juice, just a squeeze of lemon juice and sparkling water. It's really good. I think it's going to be a real favorite in the summertime. And so, yeah, no dairy, more fasting, eating earlier is my plan, and exercising. So as I said earlier, I've been getting back into exercising, which has been feeling really good, because for quite a lot of years, I haven't been able to exercise really. I just it would really wear me out, make me really tired. And I just didn't feel good afterwards. Whereas now I'm finding that the other day I was just like, oh, I feel like I'm getting me back again, because it feels like I feel good after exercise. I'm getting that endorphin buzz. So what I've been doing, I haven't been sprinting for a little while. So I was sprinting over summer, but I have stopped because the ground's too wet. I tried it just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It felt like my feet are sinking in the ground, which makes it a little bit kind of dodgy. I don't want to be falling over and hurting myself. So I have pretty much stopped sprinting at the moment, but I'm starting skipping. So I've been skipping because I can do that inside or out on the deck, and that's probably just about as good as sprinting, especially if you're doing it fast. It certainly gets the old heart rate up and gets things puffing and panting. I can't do very much of it, so it's short and sweet like sprinting. So I have been doing some weights. I've been skipping. I will get back to sprinting once the ground dries out a bit. Out where we live, I'd have to go into town to sprint like I was, but even then the ground's probably too wet in there as well. And I don't want to do it on the driveway because it's gravel, and if I fall, I'm going to hurt myself. And I don't want to do anywhere on concrete. So for the same reason, because of sprinting, it's pretty easy to fall and hurt yourself. So I'm not going to do that. So the sprinting once the weather dries up, and I need to get back to more walking. And that's the thing too, because where we've moved to, so I was just getting back to walking when we were in town on a regular basis, and then we've moved out here. So we're out in a rural area, but our road is quite busy, and it's 100 km/h speed limit, and there's a lot of trucks, and there's a lot of people that do over 100 km/h along there. So it's a little bit, there's nowhere to walk. There's a bit of grass either side, kind of long grass and stuff, and it's a little bit dodgy walking along there. So I haven't really walked much since we've been out here, but we're going to get out, and even if we've got to take the car and we'll go and we'll walk somewhere where there's somewhere to walk. It just always feels to me like it's stupid to take the car to go and do exercise. I've always been like that. I've kind of feel like, you should just get out and do it. but there's nowhere for me to really walk. Once the weather dries up as well, we'll get back into the bush, because we were doing that last year pretty regularly, once or twice a week. And but I don't like going in the winter at the moment. Like once I'm fitter and more confident, I'll probably be fine in the winter. But right now, because it gets really slippery, I'm just always a bit kind of iffy about falling and hurting myself, because then that impacts my work. And so that's just the thing that bothers me. So yeah, but getting back to some sort of walking regularly needs to be part of it as well, because the exercise, the walking, the building muscle helps your body to use more blood glucose and helps to keep your insulin lower. So that is pretty much where I'm at. Has anybody got any comments, any questions, any suggestions, anything? If you do, just pop them in the comments. But apart from that, things are generally heading in the right direction. I as I said, I'm feeling really good and seem to be getting better and better. The ferritin, I knew my ferritin was going to be lower because I had just been feeling so much less inflamed. When my ferritin was high, the inflammation was there all the time and was really noticeable. I don't know at what point it really gets to there. I don't know how long my ferritin's been going up for. Might have been going up for years. I don't know, but obviously just got to a point where it. I really started to feel it, and so yeah. So I think if nobody's got any comments or anything, that might be it for today. Crikey, I've been on here about half an hour anyway. So yeah, so that's it. I thank you for coming and watching and listening. And yeah, I'll talk to you again another day. Bye.